Hey, Ephraim, have you seen my cats anywhere?
No, I think last time I saw them, the kobolds were playing with them.
Oh no, that's never good for neither the cats or the kobolds.
Oh.
Rue,
Yes?
do the kobolds have the cats?
No, I believe they had them earlier, but one of the kobolds got scratched, so they, let them run away, and last I saw one of the goblins was chasing them, trying to get them back into the cave.
I'm surprised the kobolds are still alive.
Well, it was, what's that burly one's name? I can't remember. Was it Reginald? No, that's the bookkeeper.
Oh, whoever you mention is going to be offended
Why?
by being called the burly one.
I mean, that's how they describe themselves. Big and burly. But, well, and they are kind of burly for a kobold, but, Samuel, that's the one.
God, did they get outside again? Am I gonna have to chase after those two?
Yes. Well, as I said, one of our goblins was trying to round them up. I think it was, what was her name? I am very bad with names. Jeremy's one of the only ones I remember consistently. Either way, she went to get them. I don't know that she'll have much luck, but, well, we can hope.
Hello? Is there someone out there?
We're in here.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't really know where I am, but is this your cat?
Oh yes, that's one of them. Do you see a grey one run by as well?
No, but this one seems rather nice. Sorry, can you tell me where I am? This is not what I was expecting.
Well, I'm not sure how you got here, but you are in the realm of forgotten memories. Somewhere near the center of the realm. Or, well, the landmass of the realm.
Oh, forgotten memories. So that
And dreams.
and dreams, right? Well, that actually makes a lot of sense, I suppose. Are you here to tell me about the table and everything?
The table.
We can tell you about the door, but I don't know about the table.
Okay, well, I didn't quite see a door. I thought I was sent here by the table. I'm one of the 12 heroes. We're supposed to find out what we're supposed to be doing about all the portals that have been opening up.
Ah, that makes sense. You got the wrong address then.
Yes. If you were dealing with portals, it might be that you accidentally stepped through one into this realm. Dear.
Oh, okay. Oh boy, do you know how I'm supposed to get back?
We can probably send you back in a bit. It might take us a little bit to figure out where you're from and all that.
Right. Well, I could definitely help with that. Oh, here, your cat's squirming a bit. I'm gonna put her down.
Thank you. She's a bit of a rowdy one.
Very cute, though.
Speaking of the cats, there's our little goblin friend with the other.
Oh, interesting. I haven't actually met a goblin before. Oh no, that's a lie. Actually, I've met two goblins. They're rather cute, but they keep hiding from me.
This is one of the goblins that we started employing after somebody caused an incident at the orphanage.
Orphanage.
Yes, there was a goblin orphanage nearby that one of us may have caused an accident there because they forgot to check what the kobolds were taking there.
Oh, you have kobolds here.
Yes, in fact, Jeremy, could you bring some refreshments for our guest, please? Okay, he should be back any second. Yes, there was an orphanage that we, I don't remember if we set it up or someone else set it up, but for goblins and some other creatures.
I set it up in flames.
Yes, I know, that's why I kept saying someone caused an accident.
You're trying to be subtle.
Yes.
I don't think you should be taking pride in it.
I'm offended that you think it was an accident.
I was trying to make you not look bad. But yes, and after that occurred, we started employing the older of the goblins, and the younger ones are currently being cared for by some of the kobold assistants.
So I guess it's a win-win. I don't see why they're complaining when they got jobs.
Well, I wouldn't call it a win-win, but they do have a place to stay, they are paid, and they are fed, so at least it's not horrible. Anyway,
Maybe we should introduce ourselves to our guest.
yes, we are the Delegation of Dreamers. I am Rue.
I'm Ephraim.
And I'm Ashura.
Nice to meet you. My name's Cranberi. Tell me, I can guess at least one of you is of some dragon descent. I'm not sure what you are, though.
Oh, I am a Cephalotus Fae. There's not a lot of my kind throughout the different realms. We were created in the Feywild by a Fey noble, at least in my realm. We're not a super old race, but we're Fey that are mostly plants. Mostly.
Well, I could tell the plants, absolutely. I'm a bit of a druid myself. I've actually been to the Feywild once, but it was a bit much for me, actually.
It's definitely a bit much to be there if you're not born there or stuck there for long enough. But, well, at least mine was. I can only imagine yours. Each realm's Feywild is a little different. But, oh, here's some refreshments now. I hope you like tea.
I love tea, especially if it's something with a little cinnamon or spice in it.
This one is. It is spiced. It is, I believe, oranges and, what is that somewhat tart berry? It's a native berry. I can't remember what it's called.
Cranberi.
No, that would be kind of funny, though. But, no, this is a forgotten berry. But, well, here you go. And also, he brought a little bit of cake. Thank you, Jeremy.
Wonderful. Interesting. This smells really good. And I'd love to try your cake. I'm actually a baker, or at least I was before I started adventuring in all that.
Is that why you're named Cranberi, or?
Well, sort of. So, I guess I'll take a seat. It seems like I'm not going to be going anywhere right away.
If it's all right with you.
Well, I mean, eventually I do need to get back to where I'm supposed to be, but actually it's kind of nice to have a breather. Things have been kind of intense lately. But yeah, my name. Well, I actually picked my name. My parents. Well, my first parents. Oh, this is going to be really confusing. So when I was born, I guess, I was transported to a town called Tresshaven. Of course, I didn't know this until quite recently, but my adopted parents, they used to teach me about the world around me. My father was actually a druid, and he was teaching me about colors one day when I was really little, and showed me this cranberry red, which actually matches my skin color, as you can see. So I really liked the way it sounded and picked it. I actually had never even seen of or heard of or tasted an actual cranberry until much, much later, because we didn't have them near where I grew up.
Very cute.
Yeah, well, I have had cranberry cobbler recently, and that was really wonderful. It's a little bit more tart than I usually like, but, as a baker, I can always figure out ways to sweeten something up.
I don't think I've had that before. I'd try it sometime.
That's really good.
So, you say you were adopted when you were transported to that realm, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who your biological family is? I feel like I have a clue.
Yes. That's the horns and tail and hooves give it away, don't they?
Actually, that's not how I know. It's more because of the magical aura around you.
Oh, so what do you see exactly?
Well, I see a certain infernal lords, like his essence. So, makes me think he must be your father. I cannot tell who the other one is, though.
Yes. Well, you wouldn't be the first seer to tell me I have that essence about me. Yeah, so like I said, I was basically found in this village as a baby, brought up, and didn't realize until I was about 20 years old that those parents were actually not my true parents. And part of what me and my friends have been trying to do is find out more about where we came from. And you're right, my father's actually Mephisto, like one of the lords of hell. Trust me, that was quite shocking when I found out. And my mother, well, she's really old. She's a tiefling like me, of demonic heritage, I guess. And she's also a vampire. That's kind of how she's lasted this long and has lived quite a long time. Though was kind of created magically, I suppose. My father's essence, as you said, was kind of imbued with my mother's, and there was a surrogate mother that had me. I never got to meet her, and I guess she died in childbirth, but right after I was born, that's when I was transported to Tresshaven and had that life. It's kind of complicated. I've got basically 3 mothers and 2 dads.
Well, it's not the most complicated family I've heard of, but it is definitely quite something.
Well, that's not even talking about my 12 half-siblings, and then,
Family was busy.
Well, my mother has been trying to secure a very powerful heir for her. So she tried 13 times, I guess was the charm. And mixed results. Some of my half-siblings are quite bad people. But some of them are lovely, actually. I've got 2 brothers and a sister I'm pretty close with.
I mean, you yourself seem pretty powerful as well.
Well, I'd like to think so, but it's been mostly self-taught, actually. Like I said, my adoptive father, his name was Nephemir. He was a druid and kind of taught me about that kind of magic, but he died the day that I left Tresshaven. It's kind of a long story. He had taught me what he could, and then I kind of discovered the rest on my own as I was traveling. I haven't really come across too many druids, actually, outside of me. And then maybe about 6 months ago or so, I finally met my father, and through a strange set of circumstances ended up being his apprentice, and now I'm also studying wizardry through him. It's been quite an odd mix of magics, but I seem to be able to make it work. And I think a lot of it has to do with his magic. I mean, he knows pretty much every school of magic there is.
Jack of many trades.
Yes. Well, for better or worse, I suppose.
I know only a few people who can use all the schools of magic. One of them is the reason that I can use them. But, I must say, it is very good to have someone teach you how to use magic who does know all of the different styles and such.
Yes, it's definitely helped me protect my friends and others along the way. There's also, I mean, technically, I suppose my mother was one of the first to ever use necromancy, and that's not something I really want to learn, actually. So I've kind of stayed away from that one. And recently, I've kind of started to look into blood magic, but that's also not great. I'm kind of struggling with it, actually, because I feel like some things you don't want to do, you should do to help those around you, as long as the cost isn't too steep, you know?
Indeed. I will say there are very good and I don't know if I would say just, but there are uses for necromancy and blood magic that are more good aligned, I will say. If you use them right and with proper circumstance and the other word, when you make some plans ahead of time.
Preparation.
Yes, preparation. Proper preparation and then circumstance, you can make very good use of necromancy. I had a friend who was a necromancer who would always go and make deals with families to help them out, usually monetarily or something, and when one of them passes away, they would allow them to bring them back for the purpose of usually farming or some other menial labor for the area.
Oh.
I knew of a necromancer who did the opposite. He went around, told people that if they didn't pay him, he would resurrect their dead grandparents.
Oh, well, that would be quite terrifying, actually.
It is the duality of mortals.
I suppose so, actually. I mean, I have used necromancy before. I mean, I had to bring 2 people back from the dead quite recently, actually. But I've also been on the receiving end of necromantic magic, and it's not very fun.
Are you yourself undead?
Oh gosh, no, I hope not. No, I suppose technically, have never died. So my friends and I should tell you about them a little bit. So there's Zedekiel. He's a half orc and half moon elf fellow. Really good at dancing, really great at punching things with his hands. And there's Galvanus. He's half dragon, but he doesn't look like the two of you quite. He's kind of got more of his father in him, the human side. Oh, he actually used to be a kobold. That's why I was so excited to hear that you had him here. Turns out he had been transfigured or whatever, but is now in his proper body. But the two of them and I ended up going through this thing called a hero's quest, or a trial of some sort. And part of that trial was one of us had to die, and the test was to see if the others would be willing to give themselves up to bring them back. Unfortunately, I was the one that got dead, but it kind of wasn't really like dying, because I was able to stand there and kind of watch what was happening. But it was scary enough that, honestly, before that, if I had died, I was hoping to kind of end up like my adopted father, who was really okay with dying. It's a natural thing, of course, nature. But that experience kind of scared me enough, and I don't really want to die anytime soon. I got a lot more to live for now, too.
Well, that's a good attitude.
I'd hope so. As much as the world tries to keep killing me.
More to live for, like the people in your party, the friends you've made?
Yes, yeah, actually. Well, yes, Zedekiel, or Zeke as we call him, and Galvanus, I grew up with them in Tresshaven. All three of us actually ended up being transported there when we were younger, and all of us had adopted parents in that town. And they're pretty close to brothers to me. And there's another member of our party, L'Oreal, who travels with us from time to time. Yeah, she's wonderful. I really want to protect all of them, and the more we find out about our families and the other heroes that have joined us on this adventure, I just feel like there's so many people I want to protect.
So, the two people that you resurrected with necromancy, were they your party members?
Yes. So Zedekiel actually ended up dying once in battle. I was this giant kind of plant monster made of tangling vines. It was quite awful.
Oh no, Rue.
He couldn't get away.
Rue, why would you do that?
No, much worse than Rue. It was about 20 feet tall and kind of like a weird rotting undead kind of plant thing. Quite horrible.
Oh no, Rue's wife.
What?
Rue, she's back.
It's hopefully a joke. I had a wife many thousands of years ago, and she was a horrible creature.
Oh.
Very cruel to me and a few others. So, kind of a joke that something horrendous that is plant-based in nature might be her.
Ah.
Or she might be a devil by now. We never know.
Oh, well, what was her name? I might actually encounter her in hell.
Her name was Lilithel. I'm not sure if she would be in the hells of the realm you're from, but it is possible. Pretty sure she has the ability to hop through realms too, thanks to some trickery she played.
Good to know. I'm hoping she's not one of the incursions we've been dealing with, but I'll keep an eye out, I suppose. But I highly doubt that the creature we fought was your previous life. I think it was something in the ground had just corrupted the plants in the area. But yeah, I brought him back, thankfully. But it was only about a short time after that L'Oreal actually died, and I had to bring her back too. It almost didn't work, actually.
Why didn't it almost work?
Well, so we were actually in a lich's underground home, I suppose, what you would call it, trying to complete some trial or something for my mother. But he had a curse placed on the door that let us out eventually, and she was the first one to touch it. And she just died instantly. Whatever curse it was, I think it was just too strong. So the first time I tried to bring her back, it didn't work. Thankfully, though, Galvanus had some extra diamonds on him, so I was able to try again, but it barely worked the second time. For better or worse, though, I think that's what kind of made us get closer. So scary, absolutely. And I keep warning her not to touch any doors anymore, but, that's half a joke. That'd be kind of difficult to never be touching doors for the rest of your life.
I mean, you can never trust a door.
Yeah, I've met some pretty shady doors, let's say.
Never know when they're going to get trapped. Isn't that right, Jeremy?
It looks like he's running off now.
Yeah, I think you made him nervous.
He's trapped my door before.
Ooh.
So, speaking of doors, you mentioned something about a table. What was that about?
So that's kind of where I was right before I ended up here. So I think I kind of mentioned earlier I'm, one of 12 heroes. It seems so odd to say out loud, but it's part of what I've been trying to figure out with my two friends. There's 12 of us now, and apparently we're just the most recent iteration of these 12 heroes, because there's been several different versions of them through time. And, well, the portals I mentioned that are opening up to other realities, those have been popping up a lot more lately, and things are coming through and hurting people. Somehow we're meant to be closing them. None of us really know what we're doing yet. So there's been this kind of prophecy, I suppose, about this table. It's like a large stone table. And, well, we were all there about to touch it, which was, I thought, going to kind of give us some information about what we're meant to be doing, because I think all the memories of the previous heroes are stored in it. But then I ended up here. So I'm hoping whenever I go back, I'll hopefully be going back to the same point in time. So I really need to know what we're doing.
I should be able to get you there.
Well, that'd be good. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the break. It's actually been a lot lately, and having a nice break with some lovely tea and cake, which is excellent, by the way, is kind of nice.
We're happy to have you. But I'm just curious, could you tell us a bit more about your party? Like, possibly some of the adventures you've gone on, other than this newest one?
Oh, yeah. Well, we started out from Tresshaven. We ended up actually leaving because turns out the mayor of that town was planning on sacrificing us to this creature underground, and our parents stood up and tried to stop it, even though they were in on it the entire time. But I think at the last minute they all decided they wanted to protect us, and that's actually how my dad died. But we left after that. Oh man, we've been traveling all over the place. We went and found Caladria, which I suppose I can be telling you about because you're not really from our world, are you? But my friend Zedekiel, like I said, he's half orc, he's half moon elf. Apparently, it turns out, is a prince. And the city of his people had been kind of lost to time. And we ended up discovering it together, and then actually ended up finding his mother, who had been suspended in time. And then we brought his father back from the dead. We've done a lot. And then Galvanus, like I said before, he was a kobold when I knew him growing up. I was always kind of small and skittish and scared of everything. And then found out his father, his true father, was a human wizard, had transformed him to protect him from this dragon called Caldarian that had wanted him for some ritual. Seems like being sacrificed is kind of a common theme. But he found out that he wasn't actually kobold, and we helped him get changed back into his true form, which is, half dragon. But he's got beautiful bronze scales and wings, like kind of with a copper green patina on them. He's actually quite beautiful now. It's lovely. But yeah, we helped find his father, helped bring his true mother back, who's a dragon, helped him defeat Caldarian. So we've all had our adventures, I suppose.
You seem rather busy.
It's been a very busy 2 years. Yes. We actually had never seen anything the outside world until leaving Dresshaven. We didn't even know that there was a world out there. Our parents were very good at keeping us in the dark. So I suppose you could say we were let free and just wanted to see as much as we could, especially once we figured out that we were supposed to be saving the world. I mean, there's a lot to do to save the world. So yeah, I suppose we are busy.
That sort of reminds me of when I was just an egg and I didn't think there was anything outside.
Huh. You remember being in an egg?
A little bit. It was dark.
Huh, interesting. I should ask Galvanus if he remembers. Because I think when he was transformed, I think he was actually made into a kobold inside of an egg and hatched. I don't remember, actually.
Oh.
I'll have to ask him about that next time I see him.
I'm surprised we're not asking about romance.
Is it that obvious?
I was hoping it would just naturally come up.
I suppose, well, I mean, I have red skin, but I've been told I have a terrible blush. But yeah, I mentioned L'Oreal earlier. She's a high elf that we ended up meeting up with quite soon, actually, after leaving Tresshaven. She was part of an adventurers guild we joined up with and was actually our leader for a little bit. But traveling with us changed her, I think. She used to be quite, how do you say, like uptight. Was always very worried about how she was being perceived. It turns out her mother is the leader of the entire guild and had high expectations of her. But I think she kind of found herself while traveling with us, and well, she's lovely. I only recently actually got to be with her. It was actually right after she died. Turns out, dying kind of puts a lot of things in perspective for you. But yeah, she's wonderful.
All right, noting down. Taken.
Well, about that, I'm quite particular anyway. I've had to turn lots of menfolk down. I'm only interested in ladies. Sorry.
It's understandable. No worries.
Plus, long distance relationships and all that. I have no idea how I'd be getting back here anyway.
Occasionally we can just bring people here if we know they want to come back, but sure, we can always catch another fish from the sea if you are more interested in the lady folk.
I am quite happy with L'Oreal, actually. So, sorry, but I'm definitely taken.
I'm glad you're happy.
No, I'm glad I'm happy too.
Rue, are you saying that Ashura is attracted to fish?
I will hurt you.
Ephraim, you really need to learn more about the figures of speech.
I mean, I've seen some lovely fish people. I can't judge.
Yeah, I'm not judging either, but it just sounded like an insult.
No, it's a figure of speech, meaning that there's always going to be another person out there for someone if something doesn't work out with someone else. I will say, what is the race called? There are some. Oh, I can't remember what the race is called at all. People from the sea.
Mermaids?
Not mermaids, though I have had interactions with one before, and
Merfolk?
I guess that's a way to call it, but that's not what the species is called.
Narwhals?
No, but those are a very interesting animal.
They do cause a commotion.
Swimming in the ocean.
I don't think I've ever seen a narwhal, actually. Dolphins, yes. Sea turtles, yes. Absolutely my favorite animal I've ever encountered.
They were the inventors of the shish kebab.
Sea turtles?
No, narwhals.
That makes much more sense.
And I'm terrified of dolphins. They can be quite the, asshole, to put it nicely.
I suppose they could be a little rude sometimes, but maybe you're just not talking their language.
No, I happened to have to step in while they were tormenting a, what is the thing called? I think it was a pufferfish? They kept bouncing it around like a ball.
Oh, poor thing.
Yes, but, there's other animals I'm scared of too, but, most of those ones are plant eaters, though. They, for some reason, like to, chase me, even though most of them don't like the taste after they get me.
Well, I'll remember not to turn into anything that eats plants then. I have been able to turn into things before.
That's always a handy ability.
What kind of things?
Oh, well, actually, I turned into a dolphin once. We got shipwrecked traveling to the island where Calderian lived when we were trying to help Galvanus out with rescuing his dad.
You didn't bully a pufferfish, did you?
I don't think I've ever seen or heard of a pufferfish before, but I haven't spent too much time on the ocean. It was kind of a traumatic experience, losing the ship and all of the dwarves that were part of the crew. So I haven't spent much time on the ocean, but I could probably find some in some of the books in my father's library.
Your father has an extensive library?
Well, he's Mephisto, of course he does.
True.
He's probably got one of the biggest libraries I think I've ever seen, although half of it is locked up and no one else gets to see it but him and me.
And he keeps pufferfish in the books?
I'm assuming he's got a book about sea creatures that must have something like that in it. He also has a zoo type thing where he keeps a whole bunch of weird animals. Most of them are from hell, though, so I don't tend to go in that room.
Not a fan of hell.
I mean, it's actually not that bad, at least in my father's house. I haven't spent too much time outside of it. Well, his house is in Kenya, which I don't know how much you know about the Hells, but it's absolutely freezing. And I've had a couple bad encounters with almost freezing myself to death, so I tend not to leave the house.
I don't blame you.
As a tiefling too, cold is absolutely uncomfortable.
Indeed, the cold is quite terrible, but I'm also a plant, so I'm not equipped for the cold. But I do think we're running on about time to get you home. I think I've located your realm, but I just had one more thing I wanted to say. I don't know if you will see your biological father, Mephisto, anytime soon, but if you do, ask him if he knows a Linden. I don't know if your realms will know him or not, but he's the reason I know anything about Mephisto. Or any of the other Lords of Hell.
Is he a member of the Hells as well, or maybe a warlock of my father's?
He's a deity from my realm who is technically also a demon, but he doesn't reside in hell, from what I understand. He just happens to have friends in various places. I just don't know if he was talking about the Mephisto from your realm or one of the other realms. It's always hard to tell.
I can't even imagine more than one of my father. He's terrifying. I mean, he's always treated me well, absolutely, but he's quite an imposing figure. But I can ask. He's not always the best at sharing information with me. He tends to like to give me puzzles to work out. So a lot of this hero business I've had to kind of figure out on my own, even though he's been giving me hints along the way.
Well, at least it's kind of him to give you hints.
All right. Well, Rue, you handled finding the place. I'll handle getting her there. But we would love to have you back.
Oh, that would be lovely. It's been kind of nice to have a break from everything. And you all seem like very lovely people as well. And I'd definitely like to meet the kobolds here. There's not many where I come from.
I'm sure the cats would love to have you back again. Normally they don't allow someone to catch them.
Well, I seem to have a way with animals, so I'm not too surprised.
And good luck with your doors and tables.
Thanks. I hope it all goes okay. I feel like we're just about to find out some really important information, and frankly, I'm kind of scared. But thank you for treating me so well, and for the tea and the cake. Absolutely. And yeah, if you can get me back to where I was in the right time, that would be wonderful.
Of course. Ursa, until we see you again, have a good awakening.
actually, give me 1 second because I am going to check
Sorry.
what I named her. I literally was looking this up to tell someone else earlier, and now I can't remember
Nice.
the
I
actual.
love it when the interviewee puts the interviewer on the spot.
Yeah. Here we go.